John and Patsy Ramsey woke up on the morning of December 26, 1996 to discover their 6-year-old daughter, JonBenét Ramsey, absent from her bed in her Boulder, Colorado house. They had gotten up early to prepare for a trip, but what was going to be a fun day out for the family soon turned into their worst nightmare. When looking around the house, Patsy discovered a ransom letter on the staircase demanding $118,000 for the safe return of their daughter. There were only 3 people in the house at the time other than JonBenét, which were John, Patsy, and their 9-year-old son, Burke. The note warned the family not to involve the police in any way, but Patsy ignored this statement and immediately called 911. She also called her close friends and family to help search for her daughter and told them all what had just happened. The police arrived in just under 3 minutes at 5:53 in the morning and did some initial investigations. They checked everywhere but the basement and saw that there were no signs of forced entry anywhere in the house. The closest they got to the basement was when Officer Rick French walked down there and found a wooden lock on the door, not knowing what lay beyond it. He hesitated in front of the door for a while before walking away without even opening it. French revealed that he was searching for the kidnapper's possible escape route, which was ruled out by the locked inside peg door. During the investigation, however, a lot of mistakes were made that ended up in potential evidence being destroyed. The police only closed off JonBenét's room to visitors so as to preserve the crime scene, but they left the rest of the house open for everyone. The friends and family that Patsy had called went around the house, cleaning all the surfaces, picking up items, eventually destroying lots of probable evidence that could have helped the investigation. The police hadn't even conducted any formal interviews with the parents to learn of their accounts. They only shared evidence and kept delaying interviews. During this time, a detective named Linda Arndt had also arrived and was expecting to receive more word from the kidnappers, but they never sent any more letters. John Ramsey had already started making arrangements to pay the ransom and get his daughter back by this time. It wasn't until 7 hours after the police arrived that Detective Arndt had asked John Ramsey and his friend Fleet White to go around the house and report anything that looked amiss. They went straight to the basement and opened the door that Officer French had previously overlooked, only to find the horrific crime scene that lay beyond it. John Ramsey's daughter was right inside, with duct tape covering her mouth and nylon cords tied around her body. Against his better judgment and probably overcome by emotion, John Ramsey immediately picked up his daughter's body and went upstairs to inform the police of this discovery. In doing so, John had disturbed the crime scene itself and contaminated further evidence and forensic clues that could have helped the case move forward and find the murderer of this horrific crime. JonBenét Ramsey died through asphyxiation due to strangling, as well as a skull fracture according to the autopsy reports. Duct tape had been used to cover her mouth and a white cord had been tied around her wrists and neck. A white blanket had also been draped across her torso. The reports didn't find any conclusive evidence of rape as there was no semen found on or in the body, but sexual assault was not completely ruled out as they did discover vaginal injuries and evidence suggesting that the area had been wiped clean with a cloth. She had been strangled using a makeshift garrote composed of nylon cord and the broken handle of a paintbrush that was put around her neck. The bristle end of the paintbrush was discovered in a container carrying Patsy's painting supplies, but the other third was never recovered. According to the autopsy, vegetable or fruit item which may resemble pineapple, which JonBenét had consumed a few hours before her death, was also detected during the examination. On the day her corpse was discovered, photographs of the house include one with a picture of a bowl of pineapple on the kitchen table with a spoon in it. But neither John nor Patsy claimed to recall placing the dish on the table or serving pineapple to JonBenét. Burke Ramsey's fingerprints were discovered on the bowl, according to police. But the Ramseys asserted that Burke had been asleep all throughout the night and had only woken up a few hours after the police had even arrived. There wasn't any other evidence that was found that could counter these claims. The murder has 2 possible theories. One is the family member theory, and the other is the intruder theory. Initially, the police focused their investigations on the Ramseys, operating under the assumption that since there were no signs of forced entry, the murder had to have been committed by one of the family members. The police also felt the ransom note was fake and had been used to stage the crime scene. The ransom note was ridiculously long, scribbled with paper and pen from the Ramseys' home, and demanded almost the same sum of money that John had earned as a bonus earlier in the same year. Furthermore, the Ramseys were hesitant to collaborate with authorities. However, they eventually said that this was due to their worry that the police would not perform a thorough investigation and would single them out as an instant suspect. Investigators questioned all 3 members of the immediate family, who provided handwriting samples to match the ransom message. Both John and Burke were absolved of any involvement in the note's fabrication, although it was claimed that Patsy's handwriting sample could not be used to definitively clear her. This claim was not backed up by any other evidence. According to one explanation, Patsy might have attacked JonBenét in anger over a bedwetting issue and strangled her to cover up what had happened, mistakenly believing she was already dead. But this was ruled out as Patsy had no known history of uncontrollable rage or child abuse. Burke even stated in an interview that, "We didn't get spanked. Nothing of the sort, nothing close. Nothing near laying a finger on us, let alone killing a child." Despite the large pool of suspects, the Ramseys spent years under the public eye's harsh spotlight. They were even charged with child endangerment and obstruction of a murder investigation by a Colorado grand jury in 1999, but the prosecutor refused to prosecute because the evidence did not reach further than a reasonable doubt threshold. JonBenét's parents were never officially identified as murder suspects. The other theory, however, did have more evidence to support it. A boot print was discovered near JonBenét's body that did not belong to anyone in the family. In the basement, there was also a shattered window, which was thought to be the most plausible route of entry for an intruder. The Ramseys' house had thickly carpeted floors, which made it possible for an intruder to carry JonBenét downstairs without even alerting the family. DNA from droplets of blood was also discovered on her undergarments. That DNA belonged to an unknown male and was not found in any of the Ramseys. That DNA was sent to the FBI's combined DNA index system with a database of over 1.6 million DNA profiles, but no profile in the database matched the sample. In 2006, a man named John Carr was arrested after he admitted to accidentally murdering JonBenét after drugging and sexually assaulting her. But it was discovered that no narcotics had been found in JonBenét's system. The authorities also could not prove that he was in Boulder at that time. Also, his DNA did not fit the profile produced from the samples collected. Carr was finally removed as a suspect after all these factors had been considered. The case of JonBenét Ramsey's murder is still open to this day, and the investigation ongoing, with a large focus on DNA samples retrieved from the scene. Newer and advanced methods of forensic analysis actually discovered that there was DNA of not one, but 2 people. The DNA has now been sent to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, where they are trying to find stronger DNA profiles to help identify this murderer. Do you think there were any other mistakes in this investigation into the murder of JonBenét Ramsey? Let us know down below. And as always, thanks for watching.